Today I have an interview with elite models for a job position that I really actually hope I get. So woke up early, getting ready, doing my hair care, putting some oils into my hair to help it grow, using this thingy. Like I said, the reason I'm getting a job is because I just want to find a little bit stability in living in New York and try to enjoy my regular life outside of just my career. So that's the primary reason why I am planning on getting a job. Typically, people have a hard time letting go of the idea or perception of who you are when inside their head they've made up in their mind who you should be. A lot of the people I've met throughout my life, they've seen so many different phases of my life. For example, for my life specifically, there's some people who only know who I was as a person when I lived in Utah, and there's some people who only know who I was living in Seattle, and now there's only people who know me as who I am living in New York. And there's very rare instances of people who knew me living in Utah and Seattle, or Seattle and New York, but even rarer to have people in my life that have seen me transition from Salt Lake City to Seattle to New York. That's a very whole ordeal in itself. It doesn't have to just be involving moving, but the more you travel, the more you live life, the more people you meet, the more people you're engaged with. You just grow as a person, you gain different perspectives, and yeah. And every single time life-altering situations like that happen for me, even certain circumstances, right? For example, not having money, having to get a job, the lockdown, pandemic, etc. Every time something life-altering like that has happened to me, I've had to just learn to adapt and adjust and change. But each time I decide to change, I feel like I go through a weird phase of meeting people who are not okay with those changes that I make. Everyone I meet in New York has met me and known me as just a photographer, right? I moved here for photography, and that's what I primarily do. I'm a full-time freelance fashion photographer as of right now. That's what I do, and that's what I tell people that I do. With everything that's happening right now, with all the changes happening in my life and me finding a job, I think some people view it as me giving up, me not being able to do the grind, the hustle, etc., and that deters them of their idea of who I am, who I'm supposed to be. They start perceiving me differently because the idea of who I was supposed to be or who they viewed me as changes. There's a weird level of disappointment in their eyes. I think people try to be supportive and people try to accept change, but realistically, a lot of people have a hard time changing their opinions on who the people in their lives are when those people change. And I think that's a very normal human thing, right? You grow comfortable and adapt to your current situation, and you accept certain people for what they mean to you in your life. That's not to say that people aren't allowed to change, right? Everyone changes, everyone is allowed to change, everyone's allowed to experience their own version of growth. And I feel like the hardest thing about friendships and relationships is accepting who your friends and the people in your life are, loving them regardless, and let them figure out their life, their journey, what they should be doing, what is best for them. Letting them experiencing that and not trying to influence what you perceive them to be. All the people I've met since living in New York has perceived me a certain way, and ever since I've decided that I don't necessarily need to be freelancing full-time, and I don't necessarily need to make being a fashion photographer in New York, not making that my identity. I feel like a lot of people have started to perceive me differently, and a little bit of distance, a little bit of judgment, and that's fine, and they're allowed to do that. As you decide what is best for you, you're making the changes necessary for your life, or what you think is best for you. You making those decisions makes some of the people in your life uncomfortable, so that they feel they're weirdly disappointed in you, even though you have no real involvement in their life in that sort of way. Because relationships, friendships, everything should be adding, right? The irony of having friends and seeing them change and no longer not like no longer relating to them, but like maybe your idea perception of who they are, who they're supposed to be, gets tainted, and all of a sudden you want to create distance, or you feel like you need to create distance because your values or life stages no longer align. And I think that's completely healthy. I think that's completely fine. It's like surround yourself with people who you think are best for you, and some people are temporary, some people are lifelong friends, and that's all okay, you know? Like, you'll have these situations all the time. Yeah, that is my food for thought as I get ready this morning. Yeah, I actually really hope I get this job. Yeah, other than that, I've been liking doing this like one braid while I let all my hair fall. It's kind of nice. I think it's fun. I've gotten a lot better at braiding. Yeah, just gonna get ready. I shaved the little to no facial hair I had. Gonna switch out my piercings, make some coffee, change, relax. I'm like 3 hours early for this interview, or the reason like 3 hours, so I'm like, don't know why I'm tripping. Yeah, look at that. It's like super subtle, right? Like just having the braid is like super subtle, but it's nice. This is today's outfit for my interview for Elite. I'm keeping it simple. I'm going to toss in some platforms. And yeah, I didn't want to look like businessy try hard because it is an agency job. And most agencies are very casual. It's not an office. It is an office job, but it's not like a dress up businessy job. It is kind of like show your personal style. And I would say this is mine. Let's go, let's go. Will I get hired? I hope so. I probably won't leave my hair in the bun or tied up. Maybe I will. I'll leave it to go there, but I don't know if I'll keep it all day. Another day, another dumpling run. Look at that. Yeah, so I finished my meeting with Elite Models and it went really well. I actually really liked the team, met quite a bit of people. The next step after this is, I guess the CEO of the company is coming in next week. And if I make it to that round, I'll have a meeting with him next week and that'll be kind of like the deciding factor, whether I'm the right fit or not. So I'm actually, ironically, I'm actually more nervous after the meeting than I am during the whole situation, like this morning, to being interviewed, doing stuff within this industry. I don't really get that nervous, primarily because I always feel like maybe it's like a little bit of imposter syndrome, but I'm always surprised that I work in fashion, if that makes sense. Anything I do in here is just kind of like, all right, cool, you know? Same with like the models, talent, whatever, like meeting these people, meeting rich people, famous people, whatever. It doesn't really do anything for me, because to me it's just like a world I didn't really care for growing up, and just like a world I somehow ended up in, and I'm grateful for it, and I think it's cool. But yeah, so typically I don't really get nervous when I meet like really anyone. So I think it went really well. But now that like I kind of want the job, I feel like that's like where my anxiety and everything is coming in, which is kind of funny. Super random. This is King's Dumplings. Made a video about it before. One of my favorite dumpling spots. But they just raised their dumpling prices 50 cents. That's how you know. We're in a recession. The world's ending. The dollar value of American dollars means nothing. But yeah, the funny thing was, after the job interview, I was sitting, got a call from the internship, Food 52. They offered it to me. I did accept it. Well, I'll say I told them I'll look at the contract and everything. So waiting for them to send that over. I'll look it over, and I have until Friday to hear back. But I don't hear back from Elite until the beginning of next week about the third meeting, and the third meeting still doesn't guarantee that I get the job. So I'm kind of like, I don't want to say no to one opportunity just in case the other one doesn't happen. So yeah, it was like so crispy today, which is sick. There's another place called North Dumplings. They only sell their dumplings for $3. I don't know if it's gone up. But the thing I don't like about them compared to King's is King's, like you can feel and see the pan fried, and it always feels like fresh. Like sometimes they like make it literally right there and then North is just like in a pot. Like the minute you order it, you get it instantly, which is great. But it's like because of the steam and everything, it's more moist. It doesn't have like that crispy texture, even though it looks like it's crispy. It's not, which is fine. But yeah, so I'm just a little biased. It's all gonna work out. Hopefully I get the job at Elite, and hopefully, maybe, who knows, maybe I'll make way more money than I think I will make there. We'll see. I'm just manifesting it. I got the job. Like I'm currently cooking and everything, but I got the email today with all the details, the start date, salary, everything. And I got it. As you know, I've been applying for jobs for like the past month and a half, and I finally have a job. Like took a pause on freelancing this past month, and I've just been in my head thinking about a lot of stuff, trying to figure out what was next, applying for a bunch of jobs, just trying to see if I need to take a break from freelancing, photography or whatever, and just see where life goes. And I got the job. It sounds dumb. It's not like I haven't worked at a modeling agency before, and it's not like it is how do I say this without sounding like a dick? I don't think I'm excited because I'm working for a modeling agency. I think I'm excited because for the first time since moving, I feel like I can breathe. I feel like I don't have to constantly be in survival mode. I don't have to constantly be stressing. I don't have to constantly be wondering when my next paycheck is coming, when the next job is happening. It actually feels like I can just live my life again. I can go and buy eggs without thinking about it. Well, I probably will still think about it because I'm still me, but I don't have to hesitate on paying off my credit card. I don't have to hesitate on I don't know, it's just the basic necessities of living, it's I don't have to stress about just living. I know I've always kind of just been working and trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, what my passion is, what my end goal is and everything. And I feel like I'm still figuring that out. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly is it that I'm doing and what exactly do I want and all that stuff. And as I'm figuring that out, up until, I guess this is the longest I've ever gone freelancing. But the other thing too, is just it's so different freelancing here than it was when I first freelanced when I moved to Seattle. And New York is just, it's the extreme, right? This is the place where everyone goes to just grind and figure it out and hustle and just make everything work. And I was I appreciate that. I respect it. And I think I look up to it too. And it's it definitely I romanticized it and I did it and I lived here and I I dropped everything to move out here to do that. And I was doing it and things have been good. I need to have that balance between my career and creativity and life, that side of my life. I need to find a balance between all of that, but I also need to figure out, I need to add in my personal life, my personal relationships, the things I want to do when I am not thinking about my career. And I feel like I value that side of myself so much that it was hard, this past 8 months have been hard. Every single day, there's different challenges. There's so many moments where it's I had to pick and choose how I would live that day, whether it's staying up until 3 a.m. editing, whether it is pitching to clients or whether it's like booking a studio to work on portfolio, and then in results, skipping eating, like not eating for 2-3 days, or like not going grocery shopping for like a month or whatever. It's like there's so much picking and choosing to do that I was doing to make all this work that I was just so like, it was just so mentally tiring. I think that's the thing I like really learned is like, I still want to be doing this. I just need to do it in a healthy manner. And I've never been anti-work. I've never been anti like 9 to 5. I think there's value in both, like being able to freelance and making your own schedule. And there's like a difference in working a regular 9 to 5 with consistency. I think there's benefits to both and there's cons to both, right? Like I got to experience the cons of both. I got to experience the pros of both. And I think there's going to be so many moments in your life where in that specific moment in time, you are going to think that what you're doing right now is the right choice, and that it is. Like in that moment it is. And I definitely believe there's a side where you should like push through to see how much you can do. I don't think you should do that to the point where things become detrimental. I think you should pursue the things you want to do. If you feel like you need to keep going, you keep going. If you feel like you need to take a break, it's okay to take that break. And the only person you're like really disappointing or harming is yourself. It's like the opinions of others of like what they think you should be doing, how you should live your life. Like their concerns doesn't really concern you, and that you should just focus on yourself. And I guess like that's what I'm trying to say, where I forgot what it was like to just focus on me, and I forgot what it's like to just care about me. And I felt like I just cared about my career so much that I would risk everything and my personal health and my mental health and everything for this thing, when I want to do this in the long term, like when I want to just figure out what I want in my life in the long term. And I think life just feels so much more relaxing. But yeah, I got the job. We'll see. Let's see what happens.